Dakota Ditcheva said that the UFC were trying to trade the PFL together, kind of like they did back in the day with Ben Askren and Demetrius Johnson. They want to send a fighter or fighters to the PFL in exchange for her. That'd be a great pickup for the UFC, but the PFL don't want to let her go.
Wait a minute. Now, the UFC traded a champion for a champion. Who did they want to trade in this case? There is no bantamweight division in the PFL, isn't that right? They would have to trade their sitting flyweight champion. Was the UFC trying to trade Valentina, an aging Valentina Shevchenko, who's not getting stoppages, for a much younger female fighter who is getting stoppages, who hasn't taken an L the way Shevchenko has? Or do you think it was Weili Zhang? Had to have been a champion. There's no way. The UFC is trying to offer a non-champion for their champion. People, I think we need to get used to Dakota being in the PFL. They're going to use this as a way to build the PFL. Just like the UFC was built, they want to build the PFL. And I'm saying she might not become a UFC fighter until she's some 30 years old. Remember, how old is Kayla Harrison? Isn't she in her early 30s? Dakota 25, 26? She got plenty of time, which is why, if this is true, that's why the UFC wanted her. She is looking like a prime fighter at a much earlier age. So I wouldn't even discuss, I'm not going to discuss her coming to the UFC anymore. I think that is like next to impossible. But it all depends on how her career unfolds in the PFL. Let's say she fight Liz Carmouche. Where's she going to go? Who's she going to fight? What we're looking at is her most likely fighting lower ranked fighters that she's already on record saying she doesn't want to do. She doesn't want to go backwards. You gotta go backwards if you're gonna stay in the PFL. So I'm interested to see how this all unfolds. But right now, it looks like it's downhill for Dakota. Yeah, if she continues to fight these lower grade fighters, she'll get highlight reels and stoppages, knockouts, but nobody's going to be impressed. It's going to get to the point where people are disappointed when you do get a stoppage. Oh, what did you expect? Oh, of course that would happen. That might start to make her look even worse. That might become a stain on her legacy. Remember, you can't rewrite your career. You got to make the right decisions in real time. So we'll see. I don't know how true this is, but they say that this is what Dakota herself said. And if it's true, then they had to have been talking about trading Valentina Shevchenko. I told y'all, man. Valentina Shevchenko, I don't know what she's going to do. But do you think she would have gone to the PFL anyways? Shevchenko? I'd like to know who it was, who they had in mind. And I'd like to know if the UFC is still, if this is true, still actively pursuing Dakota Ditcheva. People, we got to look past her personality. I know she seems very childlike when she speaks and stuff like that. Sounds like you're listening to like a 14-year-old. But that's just how it is. There are a lot of people with different personalities, but they have immense talent in something else. And that's what you have here. I think if this is true, that's what the UFC understands. Fighter who's pretty much reached her prime as far as her ability, how competitive she is. Looks like it. It looks like it. Need to see some more fights. But that's rare to see someone this young to be this competitive. Even against lower tier fighters, it's rare to get the high percentage of stoppages that Dakota has. So it's going to be uncomfortable to watch, but I think we need to get ready to see her fighting lower tier fighters, and she won't become interesting, just like with Kayla. Nobody cared what Kayla was doing. We knew she was fighting lower grade fighters. Nobody's going to care what she's doing until she came to UFC. Unless the PFL actually signs worthy fighters. But right now, I don't see it. Any of you know of any, wouldn't Invicta fighters come to the PFL? They could find some respected fighters, but not really UFC caliber fighters. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping for the best, that Dakota can remain undefeated until she fights the top level fighters.